I'm here because I am a roaring lion crying out righteousness. Well, my friend Trump has left Mar-a-Lago. He is now in flight from West Palm Beach on the Trump plane, and he's on his way here to the Big Apple, New York. He's going to spend his time tonight in Trump Tower, and tomorrow at 2:15 he's going to be arraigned at 100 Central Street, which is a criminal court building. He's going to be fingerprinted. He's not going to be handcuffed. That's not going to be necessary. I don't know if they're going to mugshot him. I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if they need to have a mugshot of Trump. Maybe his lawyers have been negotiating, and maybe the Secret Service people have been negotiating as well, that he shouldn't be mugshot. And I don't think it's necessary. I mean, where's he going to go in the world? Everybody in the world knows what he looks like. My God, why mugshot him? By the way, let me just say here, I don't have a dog in this fight. You know, I did it once, endorsed Trump, but then he dumped me. He didn't personally dump me, but when he came out there and said Obama was natural born here in Hawaii, after I had spent 10 years saying that he wasn't, and risked my own life and the life of members of the congregation saying Obama was born in Kenya, he came out and said Obama was born in Hawaii. I had to let him go. And then what made matter worse, he stood up and waved the LGBTQ flag and said he's going to be better to the queers than Hillary Clinton would be. I guess I can't go no more. And my integrity will not let me go any further with her. And I'll tell you one thing right now, I'm so glad I got off that Trump train. I don't know what to do. You know, because you got to be, you got to be a hypocrite. I mean, you just got to be you got to be a bona fide, certified, Class A, if you will, FDA certified hypocrite. You know, if you fully support Trump without acknowledging the fact of who he is. So a lot of birthers are still with him. But I'm not me anyway. So I'm not here against him though. Let me say that I'm not against him. I'm not for him, but I'm not against him. I'm not for Joe Biden, my time Biden, either. I wouldn't. If there's going to be anybody, I'd be for Trump before I'd be for that Biden boy here, and that camelback ain't Black Harris. So let's be clear, because I want to say something I want you to think. I don't want you to think, well, I'm just out here because I'm for him or against him. Number one, here's some things. I've been watching the news since they made the announcement on Thursday night that the indictment had fallen, some 30 counts. All you can get on any news channel now is Trump and the indictment. And Alvin Bragg, who looks like he needs to. Anyway, so here, I'm going to go. One of the things is that we don't know what's in the indictment. A lot of people say it's a misdemeanor that's been upgraded to a felony. We really don't know that. We just don't. We'll know tomorrow, about this time tomorrow, or a little later on, we will know what's in that indictment. It very well may be just that, a misdemeanor, 30 misdemeanors that have now become 30 felonies. I don't know. I suspect that Alvin Bragg had got something up his sleeve other than that big overweight arm. I mean, okay, that big arm of his. But the thing I want to say to you is that we don't know what Trump's got. I mean, everybody seems to be underestimating Trump. Listen, Trump was the president of America for 4 years. He had access to the top secrets of the world. He had access to Osama bin Laden's girlfriend. I mean, he knows listen, Trump had access to and what he's got, the fellow who ran the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover, had a dossier on everybody in politics. And so that boy Joe McCarthy. And I think what people are underestimating is that, well, what's Trump going to do? Is he angry? Is he mad? Is he fighting? Listen, I think the question is, what does Trump have on Alvin Bragg? Not what Alvin Bragg has on Trump. That's not the question. The question is, what does Trump have on Alvin Bragg? And not only that, what does Trump have on Fannie Willis down there in Atlanta, Georgia? What does he have on her? What does he have on Merrick Garland? That's the question. And that's why I'm here talking to you today. Now, there are a whole lot of people out there, a lot of them saying Trump, they're scared to talk about Trump the way I do. I tell you, man, I dumped him. But they're scared to say that because they figure they need Trump's supporters. Well, listen, I got dumped by thousands of people that used to. Listen, I used to be the most popular thing, on the internet. When it came to Tea Party, I can't even get 5 people to listen to me now. But I'd rather have 5 people than 5 million, and have to sell my soul and bow down just to keep people happy with me. Listen, I tell you what, I got a tape. I asked the engineer to bring it up a few moments ago. Listen to all these people, all of them trying to. That Ron DeSantis is probably the best of it. All of them trying to find a way to stay on not on Trump's good side, but on the MAGA America, on the Make America Great crowd, that crowd out there that follows Trump. And then you got this boy up there from this Sununu boy up there in New Hampshire, who I think Bill Maher made him slip and say Trump can't win in 2024. I don't think he's prepared to say that. I think Bill Maher gave him that Bill Maher stare, and he made a mistake. Anyway, Mr. Engineer, roll that clip. Go ahead.
What a circus, right? I mean, it is. It's an absolute circus. It's throwing a lot of gasoline on the
circus is a vague term. In what way? I mean, Trump is a circus. You mean a circus to invite?
Yeah, so we're just kind of piling on at this point, right? So look, my thing is you have all this political
but he is
all
guilty, right?
All this. Well, do you know what the indictments are? Like, I'm assuming he is, right? I mean, let's just jump right at it.
Yeah, great.
And it only helps him. Right,
yes,
which is what I think we can all agree, which doesn't understand.
I know.
I don't think he's going to be the nominee. He shouldn't be the nominee. He can't win in 24. But this builds a lot of empathy, sympathy, if you will. It solidifies his base.
Do you believe that now that he's been indicted? Should he drop out?
Well, I do. First of all, the office is more important than any individual person. And so for the sake of the office of the presidency, I do think that's too much of a sideshow and distraction.
I think it's important to stress that in this case that involves hush money to a porn star to cover up an affair that later involves cooking his company's books, you have not heard a single Trump defender stand up and say, oh, that's not the Donald Trump I know. To my mind, there is a kind of rough justice here, because it's deeply ironic that a person who spent a good part of his 4 years in the White House trying to weaponize the Justice Department against his political enemies is now saying he's the victim of persecution. It's sort of what comes around goes around.
I'm not his lawyer. Generally, I think it's a bad idea to go on the stand, and I think it's particularly a bad idea for Trump because he lacks all self-control, and it'd be very difficult to prepare him and keep him testifying in a prudent fashion.
I don't think Bill Barr, first of all, this is one at a time. Bill Barr said Trump lacks self-control. I'm not a psychologist, but I did some cognitive, if you will, studies in the social animal going back 40 years ago. I was in college. I think Trump is very much in control. Trump knows that when he's lying, he knows that, and he's in control of that. Then they say, well, you got to go on stand, and you got to take a stand, and you got to, act a certain way. And that's control. You miss the psychological understanding of Trump. He's always in control. It's those who want to control him, who thinks he ought to act a certain way. Well, you say, well, some of the things he say can be used against him. That is true. But you keep failing. You keep failing to listen to me. I keep telling you, it isn't what Alvin Bragg has in his indictment. It's what Trump has got in his information that he's got. That's y'all need to come on. Let me take. I need to teach. I need to take y'all to school. It ain't what Alvin Bragg has got. It ain't what Fannie Willis has got with that telephone call to Brad Rassenberger. That ain't it. It's who Trump has called about Fannie Willis and about Alvin Bragg and about that boy down there, Jack Smith with the Justice Department and Merrick Garland. Y'all asked the wrong questions. Anyway, so all this weekend. So here's another one. Why America has never arrested a former president. They tried, they wanted to get Richard Nixon. They missed him. And that boy, Gerald Ford, pardoned him, so that was the end of that. But Nixon wasn't all that bad. I mean, this guy, so what? He found out what was going on in the Democratic Party. Well, everybody else does that too. They just didn't get caught, and everybody knows it. I'm not for Nixon either. I'll tell you, I'm not for it. But I'm just, and then Nixon had to leave office and disgrace, by the way. And Nixon was a pretty good president too, by the way. But I'm not for him. I'm not saying he should have gotten away with Watergate. That ain't what I'm saying. There have been that fella, that Hamite brother, who was a night watchman, reported it. Nixon would be president right now. That there was a Hamite brother that said, well, something going on over there. Somebody breaking into something. So I've seen some of this over there in Southeast Washington, and it looks like somebody breaking into the Watergate Hotel, so he called a popo. Anyway, so we don't arrest Americans, that's us, presidents, and prosecute them for several reasons. Reason number one is that we don't know what they know since they were president. And we don't know how much power they have. And you start fooling around talking about putting the president in jail, putting the president, you're going to make him take the stand in court and start dropping indictments. You better watch what you're doing, because they got stuff they can, maybe he got Kim Jong-un. Kim Jong-un, that boy is crazy too. Yeah, Kim Jong-un. His daddy's name was Kim Jong-il. So they get some different names. I need to go over there and try to show them Bible names over there. I think I'll go to North Korea and talk to them about their names. That's the only reason I want to go talk to them about that. Yeah, now they change that. Kim sounds like a girl's name anyway. But you never know. You never know what kind of deal Trump has worked out with Kim Jong-un, or Vladimir Putin for that matter, or anybody else right here in America. So you kind of let no president is above the law. No person, I agree. No American, should be above nobody should be above the law. Everybody ought to be treated equal, but there are some things that ought to be prudent. That is to say, you just don't mess with some people. You just don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't spit in the wind. No. You don't tug on Superman's cape. And you don't mess around with Big Bad John either. No, There's just some things, that's why you don't rest. But so that's going forward. So the other thing is that why is it, after indicting him what's going to happen? The indictment's going to be read tomorrow. And then there's all this protection that we got up here in New York City. We got to go through all these hoops and changes. Well, I don't think it's going to be so bad tomorrow. I'm not going downtown. I'm going to stay uptown up here in Harlem. Going uptown, Harlem. The other thing is that I think everybody's been asking questions about, is Trump worried? They said that he's worried, he's livid, all kinds of different reports. I tend to disagree. I think they're all making a mistake. I mean, if Trump is going to be worried about something, he's not worried about Alvin Bragg. I can tell you that right now. He's not worried about, and nobody else is blaming him. Ron DeSantis tried to throw some shade on him, talking about he was hanging out with a porn star, and paid her money and all that kind of stuff. He didn't got past that. All that's public news. If he's going to be worried, it ain't going to be about Alvin Bragg. I can tell you that right now. This charge up here in New York. It's possible for him to be worried, but not now. He might be worried about, Fannie Willis a tad and maybe Jack Smith and Merrick Garland a little bit more, but I don't think he's worried about it. I think it's probably, and by the way, they say that Alvin Bragg, bring us picture back up again. They say that Alvin Bragg, and this guy, right, he lives right here in Harlem. I think he lives about 10 blocks from where I'm not sitting. Alvin Bragg. He went to Harvard, law school too, by the way. But they say he's a George Soros. George Soros paid for his election. Now, George Soros is a Jewish fellow from over there. So where's over there? Belarus, someplace over there, and right next to the Russian border. What on earth is that name of that George Soros is from? He's Jewish. He's a billionaire, got plenty of money. And I asked the engineer to put up a picture of him. This boy looks like he needs Botox. Look at that. Look at, my God. Man, you got all that money. Go see a plastic. Go see somebody. My God. Go see Miss Lucy. Anything. Look at that man's skin. And the other one who looks like that is that Rupert Murdoch boy. He's another one. They need to get some Botox. This guy needs it bad. Anyway, they said this is the guy that paid for, he bought Alvin Bragg's, he paid all the money for Alvin Bragg to become district attorney. That's how it happens. You know that, right? Talking about rigged elections. And everybody said, no, elections aren't rigged. And for the most part, I don't think that they are. But when I can tell you, elections are bought and paid for. Now, I'm not going to go down the road and say that elections are rigged, but I can tell you something. People got money by the election. And that George Soros, and they're trying to run around on CNN and MSNBC saying it ain't true. Yeah, George Soros gave $500,000 that we know about so that Alvin Bragg could become the district attorney here in New York City. Somebody need to give him a recipe for some Botox. At any rate, so here's what's going on. Everybody's wondering about Trump's state of mind, and we just saw Air Force One take off from Palm Beach earlier. I don't know if y'all watching it. I was watching it. And so a lot of, what I think, here's what I think. What I think is always right. I think that the thing that we must be most concerned about is Trump being hospitalized. The boy is 77, right? And he's probably in fairly decent, but I don't think he's in good health. Look, he's obese, he's way overweight, and he had that other doctor lie and said that he's in perfect health. That doctor was lying through his MDs last year, over the other year when he gave a report. And he got COVID, and that boy, what's his name, Mark Meadows said when Trump got COVID that Sunday, I don't know if y'all saw him, they had to helivax him over to Walter Reed Hospital. That's how sick that boy was. And Mark Meadows said that the boy was down at the Jordan, that he was near death. They got him over there. They gave him a very special drug that nobody else can get. It revived him. And then Trump was running around in that black SUV out there with all them people waving at him from Walter Reed Hospital. But the boy almost died. And he's not in the best of health. He isn't. And, he's been trying to run around, do all these meetings and everything. So I would think rather than worried about is he worried, you need to worry about his health. That's something that he is not in control of. Now they can give him a lot of drugs and this and that and the other, but if he Trump is not going to be jailed. Okay, let's be clear about what we're going to be clear about. They ain't going to put him in jail, but he might end up in a hospital. And if he ends up in a hospital, even the MAGA people are going to run from him. I can tell you that even the most serious MAGA people are going to run from him. And I'll get into detail in another episode why if he goes to the hospital and he stays in there and gets diagnosed, for instance, if he have a cardiac problem, and he's in there for a little while and they ain't going to let him out, MAGA people are going to run. I'll tell you why, not now. So all these warrants and all these, if you will, what do you have? Indictments and all these charges and all these porn stars and all these, people talking about Trump. Trump don't have to worry about none of them. Take it from me. The only thing Trump has to worry about right now, the only liability Trump has is his health. Now, he does have another issue I'm going to get to as well, but right now his only liability is his health. And I'm sure he got doctors around him and everything, what everybody needs to be looking at, well, how good is his health? Because Trump's state of mind is Trump's state of mind. He's had that state of mind. I don't think Trump going to start changing and acting like somebody else, just because somebody dropped an indictment on him. I think he's going to get worse. I think he's going to let the dogs out. That's what I think. I think Trump going to let the dogs out or the Proud Boys or something. And they're going to do it. And they're going to stop barking everywhere they can bark. But this indictment does make history, and I don't know if Alvin Bragg was trying to make history. I I don't know. I really haven't been able to figure this one out. Usually I try to give you all the answers so you'll be able to, when you talk to your friends who don't know nothing, who watch Fox News all the time, Newsmax, News One, America One, AON or something. They don't know what they're talking about right there. They're talking that talk. So I try to school you. So when you talk to them, I say, well, where you get all that information from? But right now, I really don't know if Bragg is trying to make some sort of history, like he wants to be the first one. He is the first one that indicts a president, for sitting president, or former president rather. He is the first one. So I don't know if he did it because he's trying to make history. I don't know. But there's something going on here that we're not absolutely clear about. But I can tell you this, when you talk to your friends about that, when they read that indictment tomorrow, don't pay no attention to that. You need to find out, when is Trump going to read his indictment? That's the question. That's what I'm waiting for, when Trump is going to read his indictment. And so those are some things that I think are very, very, very important.